Hello you guys, it is Bebe. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about Electric Forest. I'm going to do my recap and review. I have so much to say about this festival. It was such a special experience, and sorry if my voice is a little whack. I got very sick after Forest, so I'm just finally starting to be able to speak without feeling intense pain in my throat, so that's exciting. Somehow it wasn't COVID. I had all the COVID symptoms, but tested negative twice, so I simply don't know what it was. Probably a good old case of flu, but nonetheless I finally feel well enough to sit down today and talk to you guys about this. So I don't want to waste too much time. Just for a little bit of background, this was my first ever Electric Forest experience, and I went with mostly people from the Lunchbox fam, but yeah, it was kind of like that whole friend group, like Emma, Aid, my boyfriend Garrett, and just all Lunchbox people. So it was super fun. I stayed in an RV, just in like regular GA RV camping. I came from New York, obviously, but we got the RV in Chicago and did the drive up from Chicago to Rothbury and back afterwards. So that is the basic overview. I also did get a free pass to Forest, which I am very blessed to have been able to receive. So yeah, I'll kind of talk about that towards the end as well, because I want to talk about VIP perks. Let's just jump right into it. The first thing I always cover is weather and terrain. For Forest, the weather was, where do I even begin? The real issue with Forest was the dust. It was so dusty, probably the dustiest festival I've ever been to. Next to like Lost Lands is pretty dirty, Moonrise was pretty dusty, but like apparently it's because it didn't rain in Rothbury for a long time leading up to Forest, so like there was no like water to kind of subdue the dust, so it was just like everywhere. Like walking around was so difficult. I had to use my pashmina as a mask because I forgot a mask for some reason because I'm stupid. Yeah, apparently it's usually not that bad. It just was this year, it was worse than usual, but that was pretty tricky. And then as far as the weather goes, the weather was really nice during the day. It wasn't like hot, but it was definitely pretty warm. And then at night it got really chilly. The last day was really cold at night. That was actually the only day we went back to camp to get warmer clothes. But other than that, pretty standard. Very similar weather to Lost Lands, very similar weather to like EDC in October, except maybe a little hotter during the day. I don't know, it was probably like 80 during the day, 85. Honestly, I'm not sure, but at night it did get a little chilly, so you definitely needed like a pashmina or something. As far as the terrain goes, I don't know why, but my lower body was down bad at Forest. I talked about this in my vlogs a little bit, which of course all my vlogs are up if you guys want to go check them out to get a more first-hand view of Forest. Go ahead and watch those. My feet hurt way more than they did at EDC, and I think it's because Forest is just a lot more like hilly, and then at certain stages like you'll be standing in like wood chips or like over like a bunch of pine cones. I don't know how to explain it, but like my feet were killing me after Forest. And Forest is not like a EDC like go event, like running from set to set and walking all the time. Like we did a lot of sets sitting down, like we were chilling a lot of the time, but like my feet were fucking killing me. I don't know, it was so bad. So I guess it's just because it's a different terrain than usual, but yeah, at some of the stages like you're on uneven ground, and it's just a lot harder on the lower body in my opinion, and a lot of my friends agreed. So the weather was fine though. I know a lot of people in like tents were complaining that it gets really hot in the morning once the sun is out, so then you can't really sleep because you're in a tent. I was very blessed to have an RV, so didn't have to deal with that. We had AC, which was a blessing, but at night it was definitely chilly. Like we wouldn't sleep with the generator on in the RV. We didn't need it. We didn't need AC. It was cold enough outside. So that's that. For transportation, again, this is a camping festival, so I'm gonna approach this category a little differently and just talk about like getting in and out of the festival. I know for people entering and exiting from the south entrance, it was a little tricky with traffic, but we were in an RV, so we came through North Toll entrance, and there was no traffic at all coming in on Wednesday. We got there right at noon when it opened for early arrival, and there was no line for cars or RVs, like nothing. We just drove right through. And then even leaving on Monday, we didn't leave the campgrounds till like 11 a.m. pushing noon, and we were out like very quickly. So I know like Emma and like other friends waited in line to get out for like hours, but getting out of North Toll entrance, we were out and on the road super quick. So I don't know if people in cars are like able to just drive on over to North Toll and try and get out that way. I don't know if there's people like directing traffic. I know when the night I first got there, like someone in a car drove me back to North Toll because I had to pick up my extra credentials, and there's nobody directing traffic. So I don't know if there's also nobody directing traffic on Monday, but yeah, we were able to get from like, the person's car was in GA car camping, and we went all the way to North Toll and all the way back, and no one said shit. So I don't know if on Monday people are like directing traffic, but if they aren't, definitely try and go out through the North Toll entrance because we were out super quick. Next category is vibes. The best vibes I've ever experienced at a festival, let me fucking tell you. And I know everyone says this and that Forest is really special and just the community is amazing, but I truly like did not have any bad run-ins. I think the only time where we did was like during Grizz. It got really crowded at Ranch Arena and some people were like pushing in the crowd to move forward. That's literally the only bad experience we had all weekend. Everyone was so nice. I think the closest thing to it in terms of how nice people are that I've experienced is Lost Lands. There's a lot of comparisons that you can draw between Lost Lands and Forest in my opinion, but Forest was like a whole other level of like how kind people are. There's just such a strong culture around Forest that I noticed, and like there's so much like gifting. It's a very big giving culture, a lot of just like befriending strangers. Yeah, I don't know, the energy was just amazing, and it's a much more chill overall energy, and everyone's just like happy to be there. Everyone's like, it's so easygoing. Being out in nature is incredible. I didn't realize how badly I needed that coming from New York City, where like I just don't have that accessible to me in any close proximity. It just was incredible to be in that setting, and I think that also adds to like the overall vibe. Even like the police officers walking around were so nice. I don't know what is in the air at Forest, girl, but people were so goddamn kind. It was incredible, and just like the best vibes all around, truly. I think that's what makes Forest so amazing, is just how kind everyone is and just like the culture around it. It's just like a very happy, I talked about this with a lot of people, but it was like the worst return to reality I've ever experienced. Not because of like the physical bounce back or like the mental bounce back. Well, it's kind of mental. Just like going from that like happy little magical wonderland out in nature, everyone's so kind and it's just like such good energy, and then like to leave that and come back to reality and go back to like sitting at a desk and working a job, like the adjustment was the hardest I've ever experienced out of any festival I've ever gone to. And it truly is because it's such a special place and nothing else in the world matters. Like, you're so disconnected from reality and just in this like beautiful little bubble, albeit it's temporary. It's just nice to like, it was so nice to be in that and get away from like all the real world problems and like things going on. And it's just hard to explain until you get there, or if you've experienced a festival that's similar. I think that's what I have to say about that. Moving on to vendors, so just like lines, prices. I didn't wait long for anything except on Sunday. We waited in a bar line that took forever. I don't know, I guess everyone was getting drinks at the same time, so we like we looked around at different bars and we just did the ones by Sherwood Court because that had like the shortest looking line. Ended up taking forever to get drinks, but that was the only time I waited a while for something. Other than that, like water lines, food lines were normal. Prices were like standard festival prices, you know, like expensive but typical, expected. I was so mad though about the beatbox rule. Anyone else who went, you know what I'm talking about. They like, the bartenders had to pour out the beatbox into a cup. It was like a rule. I don't know, completely defeats the purpose of the beatbox, first of all. They've tried doing this at other festivals where they keep the cap from you so you can't reseal it, and it's like, girl, that's the point of a beatbox. But this time they literally took the cap away and they had to pour it into a cup. Not only is that just annoying for us, but it's a huge fucking waste of plastic. Like, one of the beautiful things about beatbox as well is that it's recyclable. And like the amount of plastic cups that they probably went through, like single-use plastic, just to like adhere to this rule was so dumb. And I really hope that they change that for next year. Like, I get the rules around drinking, I get it's an all ages festival, it's tricky, you have to be careful, but there's not like high schoolers walking around Forest, you know what I mean? Like, when I saw kids, it was like little kids. I was just like thinking about how much plastic they were wasting, and it just like drove me crazy. Yeah, that's one thing I did not like about Forest. We were all like really annoyed with it by the end of the weekend. We were like, we just want to carry our beatbox with the cap on it, like please, that's all we want. But as far as like other vendors go, they had so many really cute small businesses set up like in camp on Main Street, but then also inside the festival. I got like a beautiful new pashmina as well as some other things. They had so much cool stuff, so definitely take your time, like if you have the budget, to go around and just like look in the little shops and stuff, because they had some really cute stuff. Moving on to security. So we never waited long for security except for the first day. I think just because everyone was wanting to get in early and just get in. So even then we probably didn't wait more than like 20 minutes, I want to say. But every day after that, breeze. They didn't really search that heavily. Yeah, I could have brought in like a full bladder of water in my hydration pack every day and they wouldn't have known, because they never opened the bottom pocket on the lunchbox, which if you have a lunchbox, like if you just like walk towards them with just the top pocket open, they very rarely realize that there's a bottom pocket under it. So I like to just keep my water in there, that way I don't have to stop and refill it once you're inside. But little life hack for my lunchbox fan people. Moving on to production and layout. I don't know why, like from watching people's Forest vlogs and then from seeing it in person, I just imagined it was laid out differently. I don't know why. But when I got there, I was like, oh, that's, and oh, that's, oh, but it's here. Oh, it's here. Oh, this stage is here. I don't know. Anyone else who went to Forest for the first time agree? I don't know. But the layout was really cool. You had Tripoli as soon as you walked in, which we saw a lot of sets there. And then you move in towards like Ranch Arena, which is, I guess, main stage, or like the main stage, I suppose. And then you get into the Forest, and then Sherwood Court, which is the other big stage, is on the other side. And then you also have Carousel Club on the other side of the Forest. In the Forest, you have like the Observatory and Honeycomb, the Grand Artique, so you have like the smaller stages. As far as production goes, like the thing about Forest is that the production is not like extravagant. The real production lies in the Forest. Like, girl, when the sun went down, like walking around the first day and just like going into the trees and like looking all around was super cool for me, just because I was like geeking out, because again, I don't have like that kind of secluded nature around me. I don't live anywhere near it. So that was incredible, and just walking around I was like in awe. I was probably so annoying. I was like, oh my god, trees. But seeing it at night, the attention to detail from Forest, like with their production at night, is like top tier. It's incredible. It's like a magical little wonderland. There's so many things to do, there's so many things to look at, like, oh my god, it was incredible. Not my camera dying in the middle of the video because I did not charge it after Forest. So like I said, it's like a little magical wonderland, like full inner child activated in the Forest at night. It's beautiful, the colors, the production, especially at the Observatory. Best stage, my favorite stage, hands down. Just because like sometimes at Tripoli and like the big, maybe not Ranch because you still have the trees and stuff, you just kind of like lose the Forest aspect of the festival like at Tripoli. Whereas when you're at the Observatory, like a stage literally in the middle of the Forest, it's incredible. It just like adds a whole different ambiance. There's a whole different atmosphere, and it was my favorite stage hands down. We saw Tin Liquor at the Observatory, and girl, it was like right as the sun was going down and like the lights were starting to come up in the trees. It was beautiful. That was one of my favorite Forest moments, was doing Tin Liquor with our whole group, like all together. Best vibes. Speaking of artists, moving into lineup, one of my favorite things about Forest is that the lineup and the music is just kind of like secondary to everything else. I feel like I have gotten so used to music festivals where I'm just running around wanting to see everyone. Like 5 different artists that I love will be playing at the same time, whereas Forest, it's just like so easygoing. Like the lineup didn't have a ton of my favorite artists, so I spent so much more time enjoying like the extra stuff, like the exploring the Forest and all the activities that they have. And we had so much downtime to do it because we weren't running from set to set. And like even before Slander on Saturday, which was the last set of the night, like all the time leading up to that, we were just like wandering around the Forest, like seeing what there was. Like we went to the silent disco. We did so much before we actually went to go see them. Obviously the lineup was still amazing. There were so many incredible artists. I had so much fun at so many sets. I saw so much amazing music, so much. But the music to me was very secondary to everything else. Like just the overall experience is amazing, and then you have like great music on top of it. Chef's Kiss. I think my top 3 sets would have to be Slander, Tin Liquor, and Chelsea Cutler. Slander in the Forest was beautiful. Next thing I'm going to talk about is whether or not I think VIP is worth it. I do this for festivals where I have VIP access, which Garrett and I did for Forest. And honestly, we were very confused by VIP at Forest. And this is obviously also part of the Forest culture, but there's no like direct like distinction of like this is VIP. Like you kind of just have to like wander and figure out where you can go yourselves, because we were confused walking around. Like we had all access, but obviously that means we can still go into the VIP areas, and we were like, where the fuck are they? So it's not really a big thing at Forest. We didn't utilize it that much. It was still really cool, obviously, and a lot of times I'll use VIP like if the crowd is too packed. But the thing with Forest, I know that's another big reason that a lot of people get VIP, but even in the crowd at Forest, like it's not like you're packed like sardines. Like it's very, because it's just more of a chill event. Like a lot of people sit down to watch the music, and people will be like sitting like towards the front of the crowd. So if you normally get VIP for that reason, and that you don't want to be like packed like sardines in a crowd, I don't think you need VIP for Forest, because I mean I was mostly in the GA crowd the whole time and never really felt like I was stuck, except for Grizz was a little tricky. It got pretty packed, but even then you can just stand towards the back and you're fine. So I don't think I would necessarily pay for VIP at Forest. If you can finesse it, I think it's dope. But if you're debating like buying either VIP or GA and your main concerns are like the crowd and like bathrooms and stuff, I thought GA was fine. The last thing I will cover is whether or not I would go back, and the answer is I think my camera's crooked. Okay, awkward. I would absolutely go back to Forest, hands down. The thing is, like, while you're there, the one thing I will say is this, and this is a con of Forest, is that it is a very long journey. Like, I had to take a week off of work, a full week. It's a hike to get there. It is expensive as fuck. Like, so, I mean, we did an RV, but as someone who would still have to fly in to even do tent camping, expensive. Renting a car, getting camping supplies, like it all adds up. It's very expensive, but that's like the main con, is that it's just like a fucking pilgrimage to get there. But it's so special, and because it's like kind of a long journey, like while we were there, Garrett and I were like, we don't think we can do this on top of EDC again next year, because we knew we definitely wanted to go back to EDC next year. All throughout the week we were like, I think this is too much to do with EDC again. And then as soon as we got home from Forest, like we like texted each other the next day and we were like, so anyway, see you at Forest next year. It's just so, the girls who get it. Like it's one of the most deeply spiritual experiences I've had at a festival in a while, which I always have like beautiful awakenings and realizations at festivals, but Forest was like another fucking tier, you know what I mean? And just like, again, I think the setting of Forest is what makes it so special and so magical. I swear there is some kind of magic in the air. Like for example, so I went with like mostly lunchbox people, but I still had friends from like all over who I wanted to meet up with, but it's the kind of thing where you're like, oh my god, we have to meet up, but like don't make a solid plan, and you just kind of like let go and let God. Didn't make any solid plans with anyone because it gets chaotic and whatever. I shit you not, I ran into just about every single person who I said I wanted to meet up with just by chance, like walking around the venue. Even like my close friend Tati and her boyfriend, like all leading up to Forest, we were like texting how excited we were, and obviously like we weren't camping near each other, so we were like, we'll figure it out, but we were so excited and knew we had to meet up. Literally ran into her and her boyfriend at the silent disco in like the middle of the night on Saturday. It was probably like 12:31 in the morning, and we ran into them and we were like, what are the fucking odds? And that kept happening to me with like all these people that I knew, like would just bump into them. I swear there's magic in the air at Forest. I really, really do. And just like, oh, the amount of like beautiful gifts that I got. I did the giving tree. I got some beautiful things that I now have like hanging up on my wall, like just cute little like motivational messages, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful festival. I could go on forever about it. I'm so grateful I was able to go. Again, I went very last minute. I'm very grateful to Garrett for putting together this master plan so that I could come, because I didn't realize how badly I needed it, like just an experience like that, to get out of the city, to be in nature, to be with good people, to listen to good music. Like, I may or may not now be an Electric Forest stan, okay? Like, that festival is so different. Like I said, the closest thing I can think of is Lost Lands, except that Lost Lands is like all bass music and like intense and running from set to set. It's like that same kind of like collective kindness and good energy, but at a whole nother tier, like literally God tier, in the most beautiful setting. You're so immersed at Electric Forest, like you truly, like I said, it's like the real world doesn't exist. You're like in this happy little wonderland. I felt like I did mental gymnastics at Forest in the best way possible, but it was just like such a unique experience, and I can't wait to go back, and I will definitely be back next year. And we are already looking at RVs and getting it planned because we have to go back. So that's it for my Forest recap and review. Like I said, definitely check out the vlogs if you haven't already. It gives a much better first-hand look at things, and just thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I did finally hit 4,000 subscribers. Aww. So thank you very much. I'm so grateful. I love just seeing how this channel is growing and getting to meet you guys at festivals. It means a lot to me, and I'm just a grateful, happy little post-forest bean. Now that I'm not sick and dying in bed, I'm like, oh, beautiful. What a great time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I have a lot of lineup reviews coming soon for festivals coming up, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because those will be coming soon. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.